and it also and we'll get into how it also kind of calls back to it later, because previously I hadn't seen this obviously, but I had seen Coppola's Dracula. Yeah. Which is a vampire film that this I feel like could have paired with as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And this transformation sequence was the moment that most reminded me of that, like all the various different bodies that Gary Oldman's Dracula takes form into, right. And how, you know, like the weird like butt wrinkly forehead that he has and stuff like that. That's what I was kind of reminded of watching this. But the difference is that you feel like that character is in control. There's something about the powerlessness of Bowie's character, who is like freaking out while this is happening to him and not being taken seriously. And
well, right, you think that like an ancient being, right, like someone like the vampire basically would have some way of going about reversing this, and his answer is to go to an actual doctor, which I found quite funny in a way, just because most of the time you have the vampire like, oh, I have to go out into the night and kill like
I have to drink from the blood chalice.
Yeah, exactly. But he's just like, no, I need to make an appointment and really get this shit checked out. So I thought that was pretty funny. And in a good way, of course. But I also like the cross-cutting with the monkey that's like deteriorating. Yes,
the cross-cutting in this. Speaking of, we were just talking on a bonus transmission recently about like cross-cutting being done as just kind of like not
a filler.
People like trying to make meaning out of something, where they're just haphazardly cross-cutting between two scenes that aren't actually saying anything by cross-cutting between each other.
Yeah.
And I think we were saying that about the recent Quiet Place film.
Yeah.
This is an example of cross-cutting as nothing but like, getting that visceral impact of being shocked a little bit, but being shocked into understanding this experience. Like, that's exactly like he feels like this monkey that has literally been injected with this drug to basically, age and rot right before these people's eyes, and watching it happen to Bowie and this monkey simultaneously. And, the music and the editing and everything kind of put together, it really freaks you out.
Yeah. And I thought it was such a surreal moment too, that I hadn't seen this and I didn't really know what to expect. So when it showed his old face all of a sudden, I thought it was kind of his anxiety about getting that old, and it would quickly go back to him maybe like aging 5 years or something like that. But as soon as it established, like, no, this is where he is in the last 2 hours, he's grown like 50 years. It just really took on a
his
bizarre
white
quality
hair is
that
falling
I
out of his head.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really good. This scene I thought really started to elevate the film for me, and I was locked in from this point. So.
Well, yeah, and then Bowie like pretending to be like a different person when he goes back home, and like the young girl comes back because he doesn't want to, obviously reveal to this girl, what's been happening to him, but he's also becoming more and more desperate to not die at the same time, and he kind of makes like one final play to not die, which is making this young girl who is supposed to be the next consort of Miriam, which I don't know exactly if that was meant to be like she was kind of grooming her to be the next person that she converted, or it was kind of a little bit unclear on that. But, they definitely had, a relationship where they liked this girl and they taught her music, and he makes her play this little piece of music until it starts to becoming a little bit more sharper and reverbed, and it gets into these shrieking sounds.
Yeah.
And he does that thing where he pulls that bladed necklace out and slits her throat onto the sheet music in slow motion while she's screaming.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that part is wild. And then and to go from this scene to just one of the most sad things I've ever seen, where he's sitting in the dark, like in the piano room, waiting for Miriam. Miriam shows up, sees him, and he's essentially just like, he doesn't really have any answers. He doesn't know what to do, but he still knows he's in love with Miriam. Miriam tells him straight up that...
You said forever and ever. Yeah. Do you remember?
And she's just like, I can't, and starts crying, and it's very emotional, and then David Bowie's character is essentially like, well, if I can't live with you and I can't be in love, and this is what I have to
and killing a child and drinking its blood is no longer going to reverse this process.
Yeah. then just kill me. And she's incapable of doing so. And there's just so many sad complications in this scene.
Yep.
That are really just it's cool that they're really thinking about how a vampire would kind of feel with so much time and so much human connection that they have made, actually.
Yeah, like you've technically, you've grown old in this young man's body, and you've kind of lived in this, in the opening very clearly, they've lived this kind of very pleasurable, fashionable kind of life.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's old and useless, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of the recent Romero we just talked about.
Oh yeah.
With, now he can't go to the clubs anymore.
Yep.
So what's the point in
clubs.
having him as a lover? He's basically this old decrepit body, and he doesn't want to live anymore. He wants to be released from this body, and watching him just like beg for death.
Yeah. And as this old man who can't even walk at this point, it's just so sad and like kind of pathetic and just man.
Yeah, and I thought about that cross-cutting moment too. Talking about good cross-cutting, where he's asking her to kiss him like she first kissed him when he was a young, hot French cellist from the 18th century.
Oh yeah.
And it's cross-cutting between their first meeting, where she's going up to him and about to convert him, and they're embracing and kissing, and then it cuts back to them embracing and kissing in this modern moment where he's this hideous like old man, and she can't even like stand to look at him really. Yeah. And it's so painful that he's trying